Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host
Dr. Jane Dorio.
on your hometown station, AM 98.3 and FM 1220. This is
Good job. It's hard to read that, isn't it?
Yes, it is. My hearing is not good. Thank you. And I even got it wrong. I put. Oh,
That's
well.
okay.
Oh well. At least they're not listening. They went to a meeting. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our in-studio guest this morning is Mary Domgowski with Oakmont Senior Living.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning to you
And I
both.
understand you've got some fun things coming up. Really,
Well, we got
really
a lot of
soon.
things coming up. We've, really focused right now on the new community, Oakmont of Valencia. So we just had our big model open house, and people were able to come through and see the new community. And we are on target to open hopefully late June, early July, if I can say.
That soon?
Yeah.
Wow.
Seems like we were just talking about it.
I
Yes,
know.
I
Whoa. Yes, we're going to do this, and whoops, here it
It
is.
is.
All of a sudden.
Here it is. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, that's very exciting. But most people who are listening don't know what Oakmont is. Why don't we just give them an idea? We're in this community for our older adults, what Oakmont offers to them in terms of a place where they can have comfort, they can have quality of life, they can live well, but also prolong their life expectancy and live better.
Yes. Gosh, there's so much, I could talk about, but, for those listening that don't know about Oakmont, so we are what we call a luxury assisted living and memory care community. So our first community opened, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, in January of 2016. And, what Oakmont offers is that all-inclusive lifestyle. So our residents have the choice of their own apartment home and assisted living. And a lot of times, people come to us because maybe maintaining a home is getting, too difficult, or, they're just not cooking as much anymore, or maybe they've lost a spouse and they're just lonely and, would like to be in a community where there's other people around, or it could be that, due to decline of their health, whether it be physical or cognitively, that they need a little extra help. So, they want to be in a place where there's someone that can keep an eye on them and assist them, if they need help. And we can assist with, all activities of daily living, from, medication management to their physical aspects of daily living, such as dressing and grooming and all of that, all done in an environment that is very, beautiful and feels like a custom home when you're in our community.
Friendly.
Very friendly. Our staff is wonderful. We have a full-time activity director that plans activities throughout the day. We want to incorporate physical and spiritual and, social and, doing brain engagement as well. So like you had stated earlier, Dr. Dorio, to, hopefully help give them a better quality of life, hopefully prolong their life a little bit more. And it gives that families the peace of mind knowing that their loved one, they don't have to worry at night that if something happens, no one's there, or what if mom falls, or, and she's all by herself.
And that's the big part about this. And for our listeners, knowing that there are, sometimes you have to be a caregiver to your loved one, especially your mother and father, aunt or uncle, but they're living at home now and they're not functioning as well. The upkeep of their home is not like it used to be. They don't vacuum, they don't dust, the dishes aren't washed, their pets are scrounging around for food and things like that. I mean, you start to see that happen. And, a lot of times the caregivers and family members will come in and help out
Right.
and just assure and make sure that their loved one is, taken care of, but yet can still stay in their home. But it gets to a point where sometimes, the senior or older adult cannot do that. And
Right.
we have to have a place for them to turn. And there's just nothing better than Oakmont being able to offer the amenities that they do have.
Thank you. Yes, and and then we also offer the memory care community, which at Oakmont we call Traditions, and that is a specially designed community for those dealing with memory issues, whether it be Alzheimer's, dementia. Alzheimer's is, as we know, the most common cause of dementia, and that really becomes difficult for family members to care for, I
And
think.
it's dangerous too.
It's dangerous. You
Absolutely.
worry about them
Dangerous.
leaving the stove on and
Yes.
not eating properly or having expired food. And there's just a list of things that can go on. And unfortunately, there's no cure for the disease, so things just progress. They don't get better. So in our Traditions community, our caregivers are specifically trained to deal with people dealing with Alzheimer's, dementia, how to deal with the behaviors that come along with Alzheimer's and dementia. Our engagement is a little bit different than assisted living. It's geared to people with dementia, so the activities are specifically designed for that. And we still feel that they need to exercise. They need to get outdoors. We even, take them on outings because it's important that they get out of the community and enjoy, what's out there. So at Oakmont of Valencia, we have a larger memory care than we do at Oakmont of Santa Clarita. So it's about twice the size. We actually have 2 memory care neighborhoods, as I call them, at Oakmont of Valencia.
Was that built specifically to enhance that?
Yes. Yes. When our owners decided to build a second community here in Santa Clarita, we really talked a lot about it and felt that there was such a high need of memory care. So we still wanted to offer assisted living, but we wanted to offer even more memory care.
I think that's very, very important because otherwise people would be hurting themselves, falling, burning themselves possibly.
Scary.
Really, and walking out and not realizing
Right.
they're walking out.
That's,
And that is really, really
right.
dangerous.
You hear that,
I mean,
on the news where someone is missing or lost, and it's just
Right.
because they wandered off and couldn't
and
find their way back
they can
home.
walk into the road and be hit by a car and not really realize what's going on.
Yeah.
But the other side of the
And-
coin is that in terms of medicine, there's drugs out there for people to take for their memory. But in reality, as a geriatric doctor, as a physician, I really haven't seen a lot of help in using those medications. But what has really helped is the environment
Right.
and making sure that a person is mentally stimulated. And people are around them, people are talking to them, that they're interacting. That makes a huge difference in terms of trying to keep their level elevated so they
Yes.
don't decline so quickly.
Right. And you think about, when you're confused and not knowing what's going on, that can be a scary feeling. And so just having someone there to comfort you and to talk with you, like you said, can make all the difference in the way their day goes.
And their life goes,
And their
actually.
life goes.
In the long run, I just see there's a decline, but the decline is slowed down by being in the right environment. And, like I said, I don't hold a lot using medication to help this situation right now. We really don't have a cure nor a really good understanding of how we're going to handle it. But the thing that does work, if I wrote a prescription for anything, I would write a prescription. You need to have a surroundings that make where they're involved, engaged, talking, and understood to keep the loved ones going. And
Right.
and it does. There's no doubt it does work. That's the best prescription that I could write.
I
This
agree.
prescription: walk 3 times a day.
You see me
Yes.
doing that all the time.
Listen to
Yes.
music,
Mhm.
a couple
Yes.
times a day.
Yes.
But
Don't
Talk
sit
to
in the,
someone.
Don't sit in the chair and watch television all day,
right.
which is very, very easy for them to do.
Yeah, and you've got to be very careful with what they're watching, because sometimes, they can watch the news and it's very scary to them, or even a movie thinking that, this is actually happening when it's not. And just, on a personal level, because my mom had Alzheimer's and passed away from the disease. It's very hard for a child to see their parent change like that. And it's hard, to know how to react, because you want them to be the way they used to be, and they can't. But when they're in an environment with professionals that have been trained and to deal with it, I feel like, even with my background, that I wasn't the best person to care for my mom, because I didn't know how to deal with those behaviors, because I wanted her to be different.
Yeah, but nobody does, Mary. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody, is challenged by the whole problems that we are facing in our society right now. And, they say, well, yeah, we're living longer. But sometimes with that comes this
Yes.
manifestation, this memory problem. And,
It's true.
once you start to realize that your loved one is dealing with it, and now you have to deal with it. It is not an easy chore mentally for yourself, or physically, or financially. And you really need to have, we really need to do better in our society across the board, taking care of those who have, mental health issues. But when you have a physiologic problem that we really can't define yet, science isn't there, well, you have to, you can hold your breath, take that step back, can't blame yourself for the problems that are
Right.
going on, and just move into that arena the best you can by looking things up and, being kind and not getting upset with your loved one. Holding their hand is the next best thing to writing that prescription,
Yep.
to
I agree.
being taken care of.
Yes.
So, we have to, our outlook has to be different here in our society, how we're going to take care of the older generation, because we're moving to where we're seeing a lot more living to in their 90s
Yes.
and 100,
Yep.
and which is great. But you really have to have quality of life to be able to make your way through. And when I'm seeing those 90 and 100-year-olds now, they're doing great. They're just doing great. And we have to be able to sustain our loved ones as long as we can, and it is working. And through assisted living, it makes a huge difference.
Yes. And and just to talk just a little bit about the dementia aspect of it too, is for the caregivers to make sure that you have that support. So, there are, I remember when, my mom was diagnosed, I don't think there was any support groups out here for Alzheimer's dementia. Now there's multiple at different times of the day. So, Oakmont, we have a monthly support group for family members dealing with Alzheimer's dementia. So I think it's just so important to be connected with other people who are on the same journey as you. And until you go through it, you as much as other people try to support you, if you haven't gone through that, it's difficult. And being around others that can share their experiences and maybe what worked for them and how they got through it, I think is very key.
It is. It really is. And we are a senior-friendly community.
Yes.
I think one of the best, from what I've been hearing in various parts of the state and in different states, we are really, really, we take care of our seniors. I think we really do. We do a great job of it.
Must be excited about the new senior center.
We absolutely are.
Yes,
A week from today
yes.
is the ribbon cutting over at
Yes.
the new site. And, talking about senior friendly, I mean, I think about $10 million was raised to, build the senior center and the new senior center. But just remember, we've been at the old senior center for 41 years. And of course, sitting next to me, to my right, Barbara Cochran and her husband Russ played the biggest role in starting it up. And if not for the Cochrans, we probably would not have had a senior center for a while. But because of them, we've enjoyed 41 years in the same place. Everything is moving over to the new site except for the buffalo, like we talked about last
And that's
week.
a
Right.
shame. It really
Aw,
is a
and
shame.
it must be bittersweet for you to see,
It is,
after all
but
these
yes,
years.
it's exciting because look how far and look how many seniors we're serving now as compared
right.
to that long ago. That's why I'm saying this community has grown by leaps and bounds, and our seniors are staying here. That's the nice part about it. They're
it's
not
true.
moving to Arizona and Nevada and places like that.
'Cause they
They're
want to stay
staying
here because it's a beautiful community.
it is, and it's very friendly, very friendly. We have lots for seniors to do,
Sure do.
lots and lots and lots.
So Mary, if people are listening, they're concerned about their loved ones, what is the phone number? How can they get a hold of you to get more information about Oakmont of Valencia?
So I'm actually going to give you two phone numbers. So the first phone number will be for Oakmont of Santa Clarita, and that is our sister community that is up and running and has been since 2016. And that number is 661-295-2025. And if you're interested in learning more about the new community, Oakmont of Valencia, scheduled to open, as I said, in the summer, you want to call 661-568-6080 because we are taking reservations for our opening this summer.
That's
Thank you.
fantastic. Oh my goodness, 2 of them out here.
I know, and they're
That's wonderful.
they're only, I think, 2.5 miles from each other. So
That's
it's
incredible.
nice. Yeah.
Well, thank you,
Thank
Mary.
you.
Thank you
you
very
very
much
much.
for being here and telling us about Oakmont.
You're welcome.
I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Do you ever listen, but you're not really paying attention? Sort of like what you're doing to me right now. This is Alex Urbina, your advanced life coach specialist. One of the most frequent questions I hear is, what is a life coach? Well, tune in every Friday at noon to learn the value of having a coach and listen to a live coaching session on the radio. Right here on your hometown station, KHTS.
Aloha, friends. Go check out Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brew coffee. What makes their coffee special is how their organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. They're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons and Walnut in Newhall. Stop by and say aloha.
And now for your convenience, a second Honu location at 23502 Lyons Avenue between Peachland and Apple.
Hi, I'm Miles McNamara, Certified Senior Advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers and Home Care. Our caregivers help you in your own home. A Comfort Keeper can provide companionship, meal preparation, medication monitoring, assistance with personal care, transportation to doctor appointments, all enhancing your independence and safety in the comfort and privacy of your own home. So if you or someone you love could use a helping hand at home, call Comfort Keepers at 287-4200. That's 287-4200.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weeder Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit WeederPrime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Welcome, Miles, our next guest.
Good morning.
Or our coming guest, our guest now.
Yay,
Good to be back.
Yes, Miles McNamara
we
of Comfort
always refer
Keepers
back
in
to
Home Car.
when we were the Three Amigos. Three
We s-
Amigos. or
well, we
whatever.
still
That's
are.
a long
but
time ago.
we used to co-host this together. until I branched
Try
off with
hosted,
Aging
yes,
with Power.
exactly.
In a tiny, tiny little room, remember?
Yep. Oh yeah, that was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was a learning. It's
This
like
is like the Taj Mahal here
You're
compared to
right.
that
it's
little
like
room.
the senior center, though. You know, it's a little small, but we're growing.
That's
so
right. That's right.
That's the nice part. And what do you think about the senior center now? Next week's the ribbon cutting, and week
Yeah,
from
I'm looking
today
forward
at this
to it.
at this time.
I'm sure you know, or I've shamelessly plugged it before, but Comfort Keepers actually sponsored a conference room at the new center.
Oh, great!
So in our
yes.
supportive services, it'll actually be the Comfort Keepers in Home Care conference room.
That is great.
Yeah, so I'm going to the ribbon cutting at 10 a.m. that day, and then
Yes.
that night is the
5
donor reception.
Donor reception.
So yeah, I'm looking forward
I'll
to
be
it.
there.
That's going to be an awesome.
And we were
place.
saying the only thing that will be missing will be the buffalo.
Oh right, yeah.
we can stampede them
Small
over
price to pay.
down a bouquet. We
Yeah,
can try doing
small
that.
price to pay for that building.
Have they taken any pictures of the buffalo that they can hang in the senior center?
Yeah, we can probably do that too.
Right,
That
yeah,
would
we'll
be
have
fun.
coyotes at the new place.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
But anyway, glad to be back. It was interesting as I was listening to you guys on the way in. It's kind of an aging in place day because Mary from Oakmont, you know, and then Comfort Keepers providing the in-home care. One thing that's changing, which I think is awesome, is the choices for our seniors. I mean, if you think just a couple decades ago, there weren't many choices. I mean,
Not
it
at all.
was
No,
skilled
you
nursing
aren't kidding.
facility or
Nursing homes.
Yeah.
You know, let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
It's nice to say skilled nursing
So
facility.
now, and we always encourage our families to have that talk to look down the road. What is that map? What does that journey look for? But now there are so many options. And, you know, when they want to stay in their own home, that's us, Comfort Keepers. But now you've got the Oakmonts of the world and assisted living where it's, you know, cruise ship on land, so to speak. And that's an option. You have board and cares that are little homes that maybe need a little higher acuity, but, you know, you have that. Then, of course, there is always the nursing home when there's no other choice. And technology is really coming along that's allowing our seniors to have those choices. I mean, you know, the technology that's there with, you know, communication devices, with safety devices, with fall detectors, wander guards for our dementia patients and clients. I mean, so technology and the choices, it's really an exciting time for seniors who want to age in place at the location of their choice.
And that's the key words, aging in place. I mean, you know, so far it's always been the choices, send them to a nursing home.
Right.
And still, you know, a good percentage of people end up in nursing homes. That's not where our seniors should be. By now, having this philosophy of aging in place, we are going to be able in our society to keep people at home. We just have to use the technology that we have, use our minds wisely, and understand that when we look at the financial situation, it will be in the long run psychologically, but especially financially cheaper to keep people in their homes.
Well, not only that, and I know as a physician, you know this, is that we have to look for quality of life and quality of care.
Absolutely.
So when you have, and I know like, you know, Mary's Oakmont and Mary G over there, they have a great memory care, and a lot of assisted livings have memory care. But sometimes when that acuity gets so high and the dementia or the Alzheimer's gets so bad and our seniors no longer know where they are, then it's about the quality of life and the quality of care. And sometimes when that acuity gets so high, maybe a nursing home is the last choice. However, let's focus on making the nursing homes better quality. You know, I know they're
yes.
pinched
Very
very
good,
much
Miles.
by their Medi-Cal and Medi-Cal
Oh, it's terrible.
reimbursements, and the ratio isn't what it's supposed to be. So we know that nursing homes are going to be the ultimate choice for some of our seniors who have high levels of dementia. Now let's make that quality of care better by getting better funding, better oversight, whatever the case may be, for the nursing homes, because at some point with the silver tsunami unfortunately upon us. You know, people are aging and they're living longer because of the technology I was talking about earlier and the medical advances. So there's a lot of different prongs, and home care is actually a relatively new industry. When I say relative, I mean, it's only been around a couple decades, you know, and so you think in the scope of things, that's relatively new. So having home care wasn't an option 20 years ago.
Right.
You know, and even assisted livings and board and cares have really bloomed in the last 2 decades. Again, it was that sole nursing home, you know, that was the only choice, or try to care for your loved ones in the home by yourself as a family caregiver without any training and basically ultimately without any life, because a lot of times it's 24/7 care that they need. They can't be left alone.
Well, it's interesting because Russ always said, don't put me in a nursing home, ever. Do not ever. He said, I'll shoot myself first.
Yeah.
And he would have.
Yeah.
And you know, and this
Seriously.
may not be the politically correct thing to say, Barbara, and you didn't face this with Russ, is as long as they're cognitively aware and they know, and you can honor that wish, but at some point they cross that threshold where they are no longer cognitively aware and they don't know that they're at home. So now, as I said earlier, let's make that quality of care wherever they go, because I don't want the families to feel tremendous guilt if they don't have the financial or physical ability to keep mom at home or dad. And if they have to put them in a nursing home because you kept them at home and you adhered to their wishes when they were cognitively aware of that. But when that then is no longer the case, now you're looking at quality of care. Are they getting the attention? Are they being treated well? Are they in a nice environment? But they don't know where they are anymore. So again,
that's very true.
You know,
And I was very fortunate with Russ to be able to have in-home care for him.
I
And
know.
yes, you do know. And all of the ladies who were there were aware of his situation. When he needed to get up and move, they were right there helping him.
Yeah.
And it was a relief for me because I could go to bed at night and sleep.
And again, there's the right way or wrong way to do things. And when families are thrust into that family caregiver role without any training, there's the technology, there's the devices. I'm not sure exactly everything Rush used, but you have the walkers, you've got the different styles of walkers, you've got mechanical lifts, you've got, you know, chairs that actually help you up and down. I mean, the technology that allows you to, you know, make someone comfortable and ambulatory at home, they're you know, changing exponentially as well.
Well,
you know,
we had a walker. Russ had a walker and a wheelchair for when I had to take him out someplace.
Right.
Because he couldn't walk long distances. But we looked at those chairs that tip forward. And he said, I don't want one of those.
Yeah.
I want to get myself out of the chair.
Which
and
he
he
kept
did.
doing.
And it's cool to have the choice, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And if it was his choice to say, yeah, that's pretty cool, I want it, then
Absolutely,
you can get it.
but he
So
said,
again,
no,
it's
I
all
don't
about
want
choices.
one.
But you know, I've been making house calls in Santa Clarita for 32 years, and from the get-go, there was nothing there, Miles, offered until you came along. When you came along, you offered a whole different option level for me as a physician to be able to keep my patients in their home.
Right.
And with that learning curve, and I think you came in about 10 years after I got here, with that learning curve, then I started to see the light, and I started to think about aging in place. And I knew with the technology, and as you grasped all the understanding needed to maintain my patients in their home, it totally changed my outlook and understanding of how we ultimately would preserve people in their homes, in their residence, where they want to live and where they want to die.
It revolutionized the whole process of
all
aging
of
in
it,
place.
Miles. And I think hand in hand, we're kind of lucky to have, you know, intersected at some point, so that, you know, you understood where I was coming from, but I understood what you were, you know, giving to my patients. It was huge for me to then see so many of them, like Russ, stay and remain in their homes. And it's not for that, that, you know, the technology, as you said, Miles, is there, but one has to take the technology and be able to use it. And I'm just so thankful that you were able to do that and allow my patients to survive because of that.
Well, it's multifaceted too, because I'm sure Barbara can attest to this. Is not only caring for the patient / client, but what it does for the family, for the spouse,
Absolutely.
for because now the pressure is taken off them. They can have some independence. They can do some things outside of the home. So yeah, obviously we help our clients with the care, but the relief and the peace of mind that we give the extended family or the immediate family, knowing that mom or dad or someone is safe and looked after, why they just go out and get their hair done. Or they go, play a round of golf or whatever the case may be, and a lot of times our adult kids aren't living with mom or dad. So now they're running back and forth, in between taking care of their own kids and family to run over to make sure mom ate well or dad took his medications or that they didn't fall. So I mean, it just, the whole aging in place concept, I wish everybody would step back and realize that none of us aren't going to age. So you need to look at that journey for yourself. And what do you want? Do you want to stay at home with a comfort keeper? Do you want to go to an Oakmont to be in an assisted living or the other choices? Do you want to, whatever your choice is, talk about it before it's an issue.
Right.
Absolutely. And thank goodness that's what we did.
Right.
Russ said, no, we don't need that. We don't need that because I got long-term care insurance. It didn't pay for all of it, but it certainly helped.
Took the burden off, took the edge off, so to speak.
Oh, yes, it really did. Unfortunately, Russ had invested to the point where we were able to pick up the rest of it,
Right.
which was a big help.
Yeah.
And he's provided for me. I don't have to worry about anything.
And I think some of our adult kids,
But there it is. You have to think ahead.
You have to think ahead, and that's
You
what we say to
really
our
do.
adult kids, because a lot of times for our clients right now, it's too late. You really can't get a long-term care policy because you're already ready to trigger it.
That's right.
But for our
right.
adult kids, it's like, look at the options again. You may have investments. You may have, savings to keep, those expenses because, again, most, if not all of home care is out of pocket. Or you may want to buy a long-term care policy. You start paying X amount in premium for X amount of benefits down the road. There's options. There's different levels of policies. Some people may be able to start their own, savings account to pay for that down the road. But think about it before it's an issue. It's so sad
Absolutely.
to have people kind of painted into a corner with nowhere to go and no funds to do it.
And thinking is important, but talking about it and having that discussion is key. And so many of my patients now have that discussion, which is different from what it was 30 years ago.
Right.
But because they have options now, they've pulled in and yanked in the need to have that talk with their loved ones, and that is what's going on now. So for caregivers who are out there who are worried about their moms and their dads, they still, can look at themselves and say, okay, what are my needs going to be in the future and what do I have to do?
Right.
And that's important. They gain the experience on how things are done right now, because I guarantee with the technology 30 years from now, it's going to be ever so different. So, which is great,
Right.
Because I know it's only going to be better. That's the direction we have continued to move.
Well, and have that talk. I know we've mentioned this before, but how many times have you stood in the living room of one of your patients, doctor, and you have the kids arguing about what mom would have wanted or what dad would have said or what, and if you have that talk and you make those decisions beforehand, then you don't thrust it on your kids to stand in the living room and argue, or God forbid in the funeral home to argue about what mom or dad wanted. I mean, people are so explicit on their journey and their map that is even to the level of what song is going to be played at their service. But that's getting ahead of the game. Think about how you want to get to that service. I mean, where do you want to age in place? What are the choices you want to make? And that way your kids aren't arguing in the living room about what mom or dad would have wanted. Is have that talk first.
And it's interesting, both of my children know I want to stay at home. I'm at home now, and I have my kitty cat. But I have lots of things to do there.
Right.
And that's what I've always done. I've kept myself busy.
Right.
And sometimes I get to a point where I just want to sit and do nothing. But if I do that, then the mind starts going. And then here you start thinking of things, and then you get upset and you start crying. And there's nothing worse than sitting by yourself in your chair crying.
Yeah.
Nothing worse.
Right. And
And
that's
I've learned now, I call Adele, I'll call Faith across the street, I'll call my daughter, I'll call my son, even though they constantly call me, Mom, you doing okay? What are you doing today?
yeah.
Cool.
Let me know what you're doing, so I text her back.
And you have such a good surrounding and support group, Barbara, but some folks aren't as lucky as you. And I know when, that's a
very
lot of times that folks undersell that aspect of what we do is when, someone loses a spouse of multiple decades and they don't have the support system that you do. They're sitting at home alone, they're starting to get depressed, despair sits in. Just having a comfort keeper or someone there for companionship to say, hey, let's go out and get an ice cream cone, or let's get you out to the senior center, or let's get to have that companionship, that one-on-one, because as I said, some folks don't have your support system and they're sitting at home. When they lose a spouse, everybody comes together, they have the service, they have whatever, then poof, everybody scatters and goes back to their own life.
Absolutely.
And there sits the spouse, surviving spouse sitting at home in the dark by themselves, just dwindling away. Yeah, so it's
well, I also know that if I get to the point where I cannot do these things, then I know I have the availability of comfort keepers.
have me on speed dial.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And I will use you.
Yeah.
I will.
Use us.
Absolutely.
But and the thing is that so many people, I say this all the time, they don't know what they don't know. Is so many times I run into somebody still and they say, oh my goodness, I wish I knew you were around when Mom was alive. Or, oh my goodness, I had no idea you existed. And I'm like, the money I spend on advertising per year and you've never heard of me? Come on. But again, it's sort of like if you don't need it, you don't see it. I mean, I always tell the story of when I thought I was going, my first new car, I was going to get a silver car because silver was so cool. The day after I bought that silver car, I started noticing how many bloody silver cars there were on the road. I'm like, oh my God. Now I hated the fact that I got but anyway, so unless, all the advertising, all the promotion that we do, say, hey, we're here if you need us, it doesn't click on people because they don't need us, and then when they do need us, they forgot that they heard about us, and so it's sort of like you've just got to stay out there and stay, involved and around the people that need my kind of service. But, I'm just really excited, as I said at the top, that with technology and the involvement of resources, that the choices of our seniors to age in place in whichever location, level, or environment they want is increasing, and it's their choice.
That's right. And Medicare also assists.
Well, they're starting this poke
on
their toe in the water.
Yes.
Yeah, they Medicare, not yet. They've authorized the CMS, which is the Center for Medicare Services.
Yes.
They've authorized some Medicare Advantage plans. I think I mentioned this before on the show. That they can, and they're just kind of leaving it out there. So I don't know how many people are really picking up that baton, but the Kaisers and the Scans and the United Healthcares, all the Medicare Advantage plans are now being allowed to cover some level of home care. And I'll use my tired old analogy. Back in the day, that Medicare didn't cover that gastric bypass surgery. It wasn't a covered issue. But then they said, wait a minute, if we pay for that now and we have our patient lose 100 pounds and there's no diabetes or any of the other morbidity issues, we're going to save so much money down the road because we know it's a business.
Absolutely.
But it's also very much healthier for the patient as well. So they're starting to think the same way about home care. They're like, hey, if we do a little proactive home care, we're going to prevent that mismanagement of medications. We're going to prevent that broken hip. We're going to prevent that slip and fall and head trauma, blah, blah, blah.
That's very true.
Yep.
Very, very true. And I hope it hurries.
Me
and
too.
Gets in place.
Yeah, me too.
Yep, we need
Absolutely.
And do we need to take a break? I think we do. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Daily Imprints is the premier one-stop shop for custom embroidery, screen printing, and promotional products in the Santa Clarita Valley. Owners Joe and Dana have provided KHTS with quality embroidered company shirts for over 3 years. If it's new business cards or promotional products you need to enhance your image, Daily Imprints is the choice for you. Located on Lyons Avenue, stop by or call today, 661-678-0508.
Experience luxury senior living at Oakmont of Valencia, Oakmont's brand new community in Santa Clarita. At Oakmont of Valencia, residents will enjoy 5-star amenities, including state-of-the-art movie theaters, spacious custom-built apartment homes, and sweeping views of the valley, all in close proximity to shopping, restaurants, and medical centers. Enjoy resort-style living, professional concierge services, a luxurious salon and day spa, and world-class dining. At Oakmont of Valencia, you'll embrace retirement in style. Enjoy impeccable service and unending possibilities with Oakmont. For details, visit oakmontofvalencia.com.
Starting a landscape project? SCV Water is available to help you from start to finish. At their free gardening classes, you'll learn planning, design, and budget, plant selection and care, irrigation and maintenance, sustainable landscape basics, and so much more. Visit yourscvwater.com for a schedule of free gardening classes. That's yourscvwater.com.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign, next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome to the Senior Hour. The following is paid programming and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220. And we're speaking with Miles McNamara of Comfort Keepers in Home Care. And that speaks for itself.
That's right.
Yes, yes, it does.
Isn't
Yes.
it? Well, before we run out of time, I want to. We have something coming up that I really want to promote. I know you guys are on the committee with me over at College of the Canyons,
Right.
headed up by Larry Schaller, is the Suicide Prevention Committee. And suicide is a huge issue in our country. It's the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. It's the second leading cause of death for those between the ages of 15 and 34. And there's also, with our veterans, over 20 a day of those suicides are our veterans.
Yep.
So the AFSP, the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention, they have what they call Out of the Darkness walks around the country to bring the awareness of suicide up. Well, this next month is going to be Santa Clarita's first inaugural walk called Welcome to the Out of the Darkness Santa Clarita Campus Walk. It's on Saturday, May 18th, 2019, coming right up next month. So, folks, we could use your support. It's being headed up by Donnell DeRubis. She's our chair. I'm proud to say that Comfort Keepers and Home Care is the title sponsor of the walk. But they are looking for teams. They are looking for sponsorships. If you were to go to afsp.org/Santa Clarita, that will take you to the walk's website. You can sign up with the team. You can make donations. If you'd like to join the Comfort Keeper team, we'd love to have you. We can get people to sponsor our walk. So again, it's going to be at College of the Canyons. Registration starts at 8 a.m. The walk starts at 9 a.m. and the whole kit and caboodle will be done by noon. To raise awareness and to raise funds for the AFSP, which again is American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. That's Saturday, May 18th. Registration at 8 a.m. and the walk starts at 9. But go to the website, put together a team. I'm also proud to say that we are on the final stretch. I know you know this, Barbara and Jean, that with this committee I talked about at the College of the Canyons with Larry Schaller, we decided to do a film regarding suicide awareness. Barbara very generously donated to the production cost of the film. So did the city of Santa Clarita, Oak Tree Gun Club. So basically, it's a film that I'm really proud of. I was tasked with writing it and directing it, and I'm also hosting it. But Jimmy Lifton from LFMT Studios, and it's called Be the Difference. And it's going to run about 25 to 26 minutes. We have a couple ladies that share their loss and their stories of signs that they missed before they lost a loved one. And this is the thrust of the film, is to the signs that we should look for when we think we have a loved one considering suicide or hurting themselves. There's a lot of different factors involved, and so we will explore and talk about the signs and the factors. But the most important thing, what do you do next? Is once you notice someone may be suicidal, maybe you notice a couple signs that are catching your attention, what do you do? What do you do about it? What type of help? There's such a stigma to mental illness and to getting someone some assistance, and maybe they just need to talk about it, you know? And it was interesting, two of the ladies that we had on the film, that both of them said straight up, I was scared to talk to them about it because I thought I would plant the seed for them to hurt themselves, which is a myth. You know, it's like that's a misconception. They wish now in hindsight they just said, "Are you okay? Are you thinking about suicide?" And Donnell DeRubez, who is chairing the Out of the Darkness walk, she's also in the film for us because she brings it all together. We talk about the signs, we talk about the factors, we talk about what do you do next. We hear the heart-wrenching stories of our guest stars about their losses. And then Donnell kind of brings it together. You know, what do you do next? You know, what are the resources that we have? Who do you talk to? Who do you call? What do you say to your loved one? And I think one of the biggest things that I gleaned when Donnell was talking, suicide is non-discriminatory. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive, what kind of house you have, what kind of clothes you wear, how much money you have. Suicide is non-discriminatory. Mental health is non-discriminatory. So, again, the film is going to be called Be the Difference. The city of Santa Clarita is getting ready to do a huge suicide awareness push. But in the meantime, please go to F as in Frank, S as in Sam, P as in Paul, afsp.org/Santa Clarita. Take a look. If you can join us on Saturday, May 18th, at 8 a.m. at College of the Canyon Cougar Stadium for the first ever Santa Clarita Out of the Darkness walk in the effort to make suicide awareness at the forefront.
And just to make sure our listeners understand, as we say that it crosses all boundaries, if you sense and feel alone, isolated, if you are contemplating the possibility of taking your life, there is a phone number that you can call. It is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. You are not alone. We are with you. We are all with you. Do not give up on yourself.
Well said.
It's a frightening thing to go through because I almost committed suicide myself. When I had an outrageous divorce and I lost a son, I thought, what am I doing here? You know?
Yeah.
Didn't have enough money to live on and supporting 2 more kids, and I almost did.
And that's going to be
I
our
got on
next
that
film.
motorcycle,
Yeah.
and I went up the end of my street, up the top of the hill, and I was ready to ride that motorcycle over the hill.
Yeah.
Now,
And hopefully this is the first of many films. So we're going to do our follow-up with folks just like you, Barbara, is what happened in your life to change that? What made you change your mind? What made you aware of that? So that's our sequel.
and if, Miles, people want to get a hold of you, what is that number?
661-287-4200.
Websites. But there's one